Hello, my name is Jack Yeager, and I've put together this video to provide you just a little bit of overview on the Intermediate Financial Management course. Prior to looking at this video, you should have watched the videos on my background if you've not already had me in a prior class, and you should watch the video on my teaching approach for this class. And you should do that even if you've not, even if you've taken a class from me in the past. I am incorporating some different methods this semester, sort of fully incorporating them into the class, so it's going to change the dynamic a little bit, and I want to make sure everybody is familiar with that. Give you some quick course highlights. Obviously, since this is a intermediate financial management course, it's intended overall to extend and apply the financial concepts that you covered in Finance 311. We will do a little bit of review on that. You can see where the review is, but it'll be sort of mixed in with extensions and so forth moving forward. The first thing that we'll cover is what is corporate finance. It's literally a one-day type of review, just set in the proper context, make sure that we're all using the same terminology and on the same page about why we're doing what we're doing. Next, we'll talk about the value of owner's equity, and we'll spend a couple of weeks on that. It's sort of a central concept in the theories of corporate finance, and we'll talk about different ways that you can estimate the value of owner's equity and why that matters and what insights you get from that. Then we'll talk about financial risk. And again, that should be a little bit of a review for you. The extension of that will be that we'll talk not only about what we call idiosyncratic risks, so understanding the riskiness of the cash flows of your firm, but also systematic risk, how those relate to the overall market, and liquidity risks or bankruptcy. Then we'll spend time talking about capital structure and long-term financing alternatives. And again, I think that's an extension. I'm not sure. I know that in the 311 class I taught, we talked a little bit about capital structure, but I'm not sure what other coverage you have. So it may be a review, but mostly I think it'll be an extension and application. And the short-term financing, the same way. Long-term financing is really about how you fund a company in the long term, so debt, equity, preferred stock, convertible bonds, warrants. Short-term financing is really cash management, working capital management, short-term debt, those sorts of things. We'll talk about alternatives to capital budgeting. I am going with the assumption that you guys have done capital budgeting, net present value, internal rate of return, those types of things, that those concepts have been covered in 311. We'll touch on those, and then we'll extend them with just a couple of other alternative ways of deciding on whether or not a project is worthwhile doing. That are maybe more appropriate in situations where it's not easy to build out sort of the several years of cash flow estimates necessary to justify the project. Then we will talk some about how you would evaluate the benefit of real options in a business. And again, I talked about this briefly in the course, the Finance 311 course that I taught, but we'll just extend and apply. And when I say extend and apply, what I mean is I'm not assuming that you've already seen something on that, and so I'm teaching it as though you've not seen it before. And then lastly, we'll talk about acquisitions and divestitures. Alongside of that, and sort of integrated with all of that, you'll have two projects. One is a project where you develop a financial forecast for a business opportunity. I find this to be a very useful skill that somebody with a emphasis in finance should have. Those of you who have had my Finance 311 course probably have some experience with this, but I know that it's not taught in the other courses, so I sort of circle back around on this. And then we also have a project for the latter half of the semester that is really more of a business simulation that you participate in. We use the CAPSIM business simulation that is also used in the Management 460 class. I scale that down a lot so that we're really just focused on the finance decisions, and you'll use that simulation to apply what you've learned about short-term and long-term financing to try and create value and benefit and improve the value of owner equity for your company through your finance decisions. Talking about the syllabus, again, there is a syllabus posted. I'm sure that you can see that. You'll notice that on the syllabus, as it relates to contacting me, it includes my email address, my office hours, my office location, and my office phone. What it does not include is my personal cell phone. Just kind of briefly, let me talk to you about that. I am in my office fairly regularly, Monday through Thursday, often on Friday, but not always on Friday. If you come by my office and I'm in there and I've got nothing else planned, then I will talk to you. If you come at my office hours, obviously I'll talk to you. If you want to set up an appointment, you can certainly do that. If you leave me an email, I check my emails 2 or 3 times a day. Sometimes I wait till a little bit later in the day to respond, depending on whether it's a long response or not. But I generally will try and get a response back to you within one school day. What I mean by a school day is if you send me something at 5 o'clock on a Friday, I'm not going to necessarily respond to you Saturday morning. You probably won't get a response till Monday. You can obviously leave a voicemail on my office phone. I don't have that phone forwarded to anything, and so the only time that I will check it is when I'm in the office. And so again, if it's something that you kind of know my office schedule and you know that you need your response faster than that, then that may not be good enough for you. I do, again, allow and encourage students who need to deal with something urgently to text me on my cell phone or call me on my cell phone. I don't post the cell phone either in this video or on my syllabus, simply because those are both going to be out in a public place where anybody in the world can see them, and I don't want to just give my cell phone to the world. I will post that cell phone on Blackboard, and certainly if you ask me in class, I'll make sure that you have that number, and so you can use that if you need to get hold of me more urgently. As far as my office hours, right now they are tentatively scheduled to be from 10 to 11:30 on Mondays and Thursdays, and 2:30 to 4 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I thought that by sort of doing it that way, I would hit both morning and afternoon, and I would sort of stagger that. So if you're a Tuesday, Thursday person or a Wednesday, Monday person, that this would work for you. I'd say tentatively because there may be changes to those. I have to run that through our division. If there are changes, I'll certainly let you know. I'll post it to Blackboard. But also my office hours, my official office hours, are always posted on a little sign on the window of my office, and so you can check there. In terms of what you need for the semester, you'll see on the syllabus that I list a textbook. You'll also see that textbook is the same one that I've used for the Finance 311 course for the last couple of semesters. My understanding with Dr. Islam is that we will migrate to this textbook for everything, and so We teach the first half of it in 311, and the second half sort of in 315, and so you'll want the textbook. I will be honest with you, I don't assign problems out of the textbook or anything like that. I think it has good coverage on some of the topics, and I certainly reference the textbook as a good resource for you for the topics that we're going to cover. If at your option, if you would prefer to share a textbook with somebody, or to go without and simply do your background research on the internet, that's fine. But I certainly do point to the textbook and expect that you have familiarity with what's in it to help with the discussions. You will need to register for CAPSIM, and I will provide you, when the time comes, with information on how to do that. You don't need to worry on that now. That's kind of in the latter half of the semester. But you will need to register for CAPSIM. And if you look on the syllabus, what you'll see is a kind of an explanation. CAPSIM is the business simulation tool that we use in the Management 460 course. I know there are some other instructors that are using it in other courses as well, on sort of a limited basis. The registration does cost you as a student money. I think it's somewhere between $50 and $60. It is a lifetime registration, so whenever you register with them to use a particular simulation, in this case I think we all use the capstone simulation, whenever you register with them and pay your $50 to $60 for that, they keep track of that. And so from class to class to class, if you have a class that uses it again, you don't have to go re-register. You just need to contact CAPSIM and give them your information so that they can put you into the class. That kind of works two different directions, I think, for folks in this class. Some of you may have already had the Management 460 course and already paid for CAPSIM, in which case you won't need to register again for this class. You'll just need to contact CAPSIM when the time comes. The other direction is that many of you maybe have not taken the Management 460 class, and so when you do take it, you won't need to register for CAPSIM again then. You'll just contact CAPSIM to put you into the right course and all that sort of stuff when you go through the process. The other major thing that I want to point out about the syllabus is my grading. We will have 4 quizzes, take-home quizzes during this semester. They're 10 points each. There's no final that's like cumulative or anything like that. It's just one of the 4 quizzes. You will do a forecasting project and give a presentation on that. You'll be graded on your presentation. That's 20 points. You'll have 2 presentations related to the long-term and short-term financing stuff that you'll be doing in CAPSIM, and each of those is worth 10 points. And preparation and class participation is worth 20 points. I want to talk about that preparation and class participation for just a minute. I do explain that in the syllabus, but I want to be clear on that. Because of the teaching approach that I use, it is essential that you come to class prepared. That's what really makes the approach work. I do understand that sometimes you either can't come to class or there's a good reason why you haven't prepared. And so I'm trying to accommodate that. My rule on that's pretty simple. I know in the past I've been pretty laissez-faire about class participation and attendance. That will not be the case this semester. My approach is that if you contact me in advance and let me know that you will not be able to attend class and is an acceptable reason, then that's just considered an excused absence. No consequence whatsoever for that. If you fail to contact me in advance for an excused absence, or you don't really have an excuse, or it's not an acceptable excuse, then that's an absence. I will deal with class preparation and participation on what's called a demerits basis. Demerits are points but they are bad points. So the more points you have, the worse things are. If you have an unexcused absence, that costs you 1 demerit. If you show up to class and I call on you to participate in the class discussion, lead one or participate or whatever the role is for that day, and you are unable to do so satisfactorily, then you'll lose a half a demerit. And so 1 for not being there, half for being there but not being prepared. I'll count up the demerits throughout the semester. The first 3 demerits you get are freebies. I won't count any points off of your preparation or class participation for that. I do understand that sometimes things happen or you have a bad day. Beyond that, the penalty's pretty harsh. Every demerit beyond that is 5 points out of your participation preparation grade. So when you hit 4 demerits, you've lost half a letter grade. When you hit 5 demerits, you've lost a letter grade. 7 demerits, you've lost the full 20 points. If you stop and you think about that, this is a 15-week course, so roughly 30 meetings. So at the point that you have basically failed to the point that you've got 7 demerits, then about a quarter of the course you've just not been with us. So I think that's a fair assessment of that. The last thing I want to point out, there are 2 learning management systems on campus, Moodle and Blackboard. I will use Blackboard. I will use it extensively. It will be the place that you will go to know how to prepare for class each time. It is my goal to have all of the information up at least 2 days ahead of the date of a class in order to prepare for it. I would like to have it up much further in advance than that, but my goal is to always have it up at least that far in advance. I'm sure that you guys don't think about it this way, but when you see the amount of stuff that's out there to help you get ready for class, hopefully you'll appreciate the fact that it takes a fair amount of time on my part to get all of that ready. Some of it I have from other classes, some of it I know in my head, but there will be a lot of videos like this where I explain things, and it just takes time to put all of that together. But it will all be out on Blackboard. If for some reason you go to Blackboard, you're looking for the stuff to prepare, and you either can't get to Blackboard, don't understand what you're supposed to do, can't find it, whatever else, the onus is on you to contact me so that I can help you or correct whatever's going on out there. Just showing up to class and saying, yeah, I got on Blackboard, couldn't figure it out, so there you go. That will count you as a half demerit. You're not prepared. So, next steps. You need to download the full syllabus and read it. You need to check Blackboard for the information that's already posted out there on what you needed to prepare for the first class, and then contact me via email if you have any questions. And you need to identify 3 to 4 classmates that you'd like to partner with for the business opportunity project. I will post out to Blackboard the roster for the class, and it will include emails. Many of you will know people in the class, and maybe you just want to contact them and see whether or not they want to work with you. The people you're partnering with, you'll be in that same group for not only the business opportunity forecasting project, which is the first 7 or 8 weeks of the semester, but ideally you would stay with those people for the CAPSIM project the last part of the semester. I will allow some swapping between groups before the CAPSIM starts, so if there's something that just doesn't work out in the first part of the semester, we can always change that out. But generally you should be thinking about a partner for the whole semester. And ideally I would like to see, I believe right now we have 13 folks in the class. I'd like to see groups of 3 or 4, I guess. Let me check. I'm not sure I have the right numbers on that. Anyway, we'll figure that out. So I'd like to see 3 or 4 people in a group. So I guess what you really need to do is identify 2 or 3 folks. And that's all I got for you. Again, if there's anything confusing about this, you should contact me via email and I will try and clear that up. Thank you.